This is Torrance Davis with Get Your Geek on, and today we're looking at the Madcatz Call of Duty Black Ops controllers. Now we got three different controllers. We got one for the Xbox 360, one for the PlayStation 3, and one for the PC. The Xbox 360 and PC versions are wired USB controllers, and the PlayStation 3 version is wireless. Now they all have this same kind of design. You know, it's got the black logos and artwork on them, but the actual controllers aren't that different. Now, if you look at the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions, they're almost identical, except for the placement of the analog controls. But everything else you could see here is the same. And for you guys who are multi-console owners who prefer a 360 controller for your first-person shooters, well, here's the PlayStation 3 controller, and you can see there are actual triggers on the PlayStation 3 version. So L2 and R2 are triggers. Now, one of the problems we found, this is great. This is a great thing. It feels like a 360 controller, which is cool. But the problem is that a game like Battlefield Bad Company 2 doesn't allow you to remap the firing from R1 to R2. You can't do it. There's only like 2 or 3 configurations. I looked at it and there is no way to map the firing control down here. So that was a tough one. Now underneath you can see here there's 2 additional buttons. These are called the combat buttons, and you can map pretty much any button to these two. So it's got R3 and L3, which is pushing in the analog controllers. So if you don't want to push in to run, you can just press down Combat 2 to run. And you can also map the X, square, circle, and triangle buttons to these down here. So if I was holding it and I decided I wanted to run with my character, I could use either one of these. But you know, I haven't played this with Call of Duty yet, because I don't have Call of Duty for the PlayStation 3. But it would be nice to know if you can map the trigger buttons on Call of Duty. I know you can't do it with Battlefield Bad Company 2, but probably Battlefield 3 will be able to do it. And one other thing I realized is that when playing a first-person shooter on the PlayStation 3, because this feels so much like an Xbox 360 controller, and I couldn't remap the firing buttons like Battlefield Bad Company 2, I tend to use the triggers by accident. When I have a PlayStation 3 controller in my hand, it's natural to go for the top button. But when I have this, I mean, if you put this in your hand and you close your eyes, it feels like a 360 controller. So you automatically go to the triggers to fire, even though they're mapped up here. So it was really hard, even though it felt more comfortable, it was really hard to play Battlefield Bad Company 2 with the PlayStation 3 controller, which kind of sucks. However, that doesn't mean it's not a great controller. It is a great controller. The problem with the mapping is in the software itself, not the controller. You know, I implore you, please, if you're looking for something that feels more like a 360 controller for your PlayStation 3, go and find the Call of Duty Black Ops PlayStation 3 controller. It feels good. It's bigger. It's not small. It is still light. It's a little heavier than the 6-axis, the original 6-axis without the rumble. This does not have rumble in it. It does feel a little bit heavier though. And here's the other cool thing. You can turn it on. Bloop. In fact, let me turn these lights out here so you can see it better. You can turn it on at night. It wastes your charge, but you can see it glow, which is pretty sick. I mean, it just looks cool. And all of them do it. Here's the PC version. PC version is shaped more like the PS3 version, as you can see. So it might be a tad wider because they put the analog sticks down at the bottom and a D-pad up here. Same triggers. Doesn't have the remapping buttons for the bottom, but everything else is the same. And then on the Xbox 360 controller, let me get some light here. On the Xbox 360 controller, you have the standard Xbox 360 triggers. So, I mean, this is exactly like an Xbox 360 standard controller. It has the harder tops for the analog sticks. What feels like a better D-pad. Definitely feels better than the original. And, you know, your standard buttons here. And then you have your combat buttons down at the bottom. You can see there. And yeah, this one lights up too when you turn it on. And it's wired, so you can leave it lit and it won't drain a battery or anything. And you won't need batteries for it. They're all great controllers. They're very comfortable. Especially for PC games, this is great. You know, for those games that you want to play, that you have to play with a controller, whether it be first-person shooter or emulated games, this is great. I didn't find these buttons as comfortable on the PC controller. The triggers were fine, but the shoulder buttons just, you know, they felt kind of weird to me. I don't know. They weren't bouncy enough. But on the PlayStation 3, even though it's the same design as you can see here, these ones felt a little bit more bouncy, more comfortable, which is really strange. And obviously on the Xbox, these are just like the standard Xbox, except they're clicky, so you can hear when you use them, they make a click. For some reason on the PC, I don't know, they just felt like they could use some more bounce. They work just fine, but they just felt like they could use a little bit more bounce. And obviously you can plug this into a PlayStation 3 and it'll work fine. You can plug this one into a PC and it'll work fine if you want to go Xbox 360 style on your PC. And that's it. So these are the Madcatz Call of Duty Black Ops controllers. PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. I highly recommend them, especially the PlayStation 3 version if you're looking for something that's more like a 360 controller. This is Torrance Davis with Get Your Geek On, and I'm out.